a little bit of military models. I run a channel on youtube.com as the Mokanaman, and post some pictures in some public places, Facebook and whatnot. Bit of a competition modeler. And today, over this Easter weekend, which I've got a little time off work, been very busy with work to the reason why I haven't been able to stream some other projects. And this has led me to today doing a very, very long marathon stream. I've always wanted to push how far of a stream or how long I can go. We've just got our stream up online. I just need to check if it's not laggy. If the audio is okay, then we can get straight into it. I can't hear anything, so not too sure what's going on. I'll have to see if I can find my audio settings. If you can hear my audio, please shout out or something. Oh, good. Okay, you know what? Forget the tests. We'll just keep going. I'll rely off you guys being my eyes and ears. What I want to do is sit here for about next few to several hours, and we shall be building the arm frames girl Innocentia. And while I'm making this, I'm going to be working on my YouTube channel or YouTube video for the same purpose. So we've got all these wonderful runners, and the general gist of it is to build her out of the box. Now, in line with what I do on YouTube, I also have to take photos of the box. So you'll see me stand up using my little bit of a photo booth here, or what I can call a photo booth. And document the entirety of the project. So we've already greeted with some coloured runners. It's a bit funny taking photos while on stream. There we go. All good, all part of the process. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 runners, 13 runners or bags of parts. There's some pre-painted bits and pieces too for the what looks like the underwear or some sort of G-string arrangement. So that's quite a few interesting bits. Our instructions and eye decals. So that's all pretty cool. There's also some warning labels. So it's not very hard to build this particular model. It's just the girl itself, no extra mechanical parts, arms or whatnot. Normally would be used for building or scratch building, doing your own custom battle gear or armor gear or all of that jazz. So nothing here looks too difficult. There are some seam lines. It actually shows in the picture here where the seam lines are going to be, as well as where all the mechanical detail is. So we know what we can choose or not to choose to build. And at the very end, it's a set of advertisements of extra junk you can buy. I love these kits. Built all of them, released so far except this one. It's still sitting in my Hobby Link Japan warehouse. It is a good system. You can wait until enough stuff sets up and whatnot. You can get it posted out. I've got most of them. There's two that I don't have, but I'm not too big fans of the design or whatnot. And there's also a Gentai one, a couple of recolors. I don't have any of those yet. Gonna take a quick photo of the runners, crack open the bags, and just get cracking. And this way, for those who have not seen the stream, they can watch it off YouTube later. They'll be in a nice bite-sized 10-minute lot. Okay, that's photographed. And we'll do these little baggies as well. Plus the eyes. While I'm streaming and I'm sort of playing grab ass with the chat and whatnot, got my other laptop there. Gonna watch some shows, some tunes. To be honest, unless I hurt myself, get tired, or something comes up, I'm probably going to be here for several hours. It's going to be a lot of fun. Do like a massive modelling binge. I think the problem with the Twitch streams is I get a bit bored because I'm either waiting for someone to come in the chat to chat, or I'm putting all my energy in entertaining and constantly talking or something or somewhat. So that is all sorted. Start cracking open the bags. Crack open the instructions, which is on top of my laptop. And people can just jump in and out of the chat as they see fit. Where the hell is my hobby knife? Throw the rubbish on the floor. So we've got some PCs, ABS or styrene is all sorts of hard points that are potentially joints or whatnot. Straight in the box. White parts. The runners are a lot smaller. It's interesting that whatever was to be number 6 is missing. So they're cutting back on plastics. That would have required to mess around with the tooling or the mold. So it's a recycled bit, but something happened there. And being my third attempted frame arm girls, I only completed one. This H runner is very familiar. That's all universal. So hopefully I'll be a little faster with this one, being I've built one, and just being a little more familiar with the flow and the layouts and all that sort of stuff. Still, I'll probably be insanely slow, so Gorai just took ever to finish, but I see her up there. So we've got neck joints and arm joints and all that jazz. And I got some of the larger runners. I get a bit frustrated with kits with way too many runners, sorting through them from step to step to step. So my current frame arm girl, the big purple one that starts with a H, that's just constantly flipping through different runners. But luckily for each body component, you're only operating with 2 or 3 runners. So I'm not taking one part from runner A and one part from runner 13 and all that stuff. That's a lot of hair. That is more hair than for one head. I'm counting 3 sets. So I think there's sets of hair for the cat ears or the pigtail situation, and hair for other things. So that's very cool. I'm actually going to talk to my friend who wanted to buy this kit just for the hair, I think. I might be able to just hook him up with some hair. You do come with a lot of parts for your arm frame, girls. Put them aside in a special box when you build another one and want to go all custom and have a certain fringe or parts or whatnot, since a lot of these are compatible later on down the track when you want to modify. That's good for that. But because of the high amount of parts to do all the different versions, it definitely does keep the cost quite high. So I'm just trying to get used to constantly looking at the control panel, the comments, all that sort of stuff. Bear with me. So you got the legs. That's a little different to Garai. And some of the leotard parts. Excuse me. Have a quick look. Doesn't really say what's going on. I just need to quickly boot up. So my audio's working. My audio's definitely funny. There's something going wrong, so I will see if I can resolve that. So I was going to watch a DVD or something like that. Might have to just reset this computer or something. Yeah, fuck it. I'm going to reset it. It's going to make a funny noise. My laptop's absolutely fucked. So I do apologize if and when that happens. I'm going to take some photos of the instructions, which seems a bit redundant. That's what I do. I've also noticed that with my latest arm frames girl, it comes with a blank head and blank body parts, so you can add the eye decals or paint it, as well as multiple heads with the eyes. Looking at the fleshy bits, I'm not seeing a spare head, and I'm not seeing a spare hip area. So with the hip parts, that is definitely going to have to be all repainted. Though since it's embossed or raised, that shouldn't be too much of an issue. And this E part will have a little bit of hand painting. Hand painting doesn't scare me, so that's totally cool. Black part, boxes upon boxes. When I crack a kit open for the first time, that reset very, very quickly. That's good, but it did not make a sound, so I'm somewhat concerned. That is not good. There's a few photos. model does seem to be very fleshy. So that's definitely not good. Well, we'll start the first while we're waiting even longer, or especially that I'm waiting. Start with the first step. So with these instructions, we've got 4 assemblies of head. And we can choose which one we want to follow, and then from then it's just the same body. So this configuration 1 to 4, 5 to 10, 13, or 11 to 13, 14 to 18. The vanilla version would be very interesting to keep. 14 to 18 is good. I think I'll go with the box art. So we're, even though I really dig 14 to 18, I'm achieving a box art finish. So 5 to, what the, something strange is definitely, whatever. So 5. We'll start there, and we'll start collecting our runners, A and H. A lot of people put tags and they write on their runners and all that sort of stuff. The large cutouts, it's pretty easy to spot, so I don't bother too much. Big set of runner and a little set of runner. We'll start off with H first. 10. So we cut nice and far from the actual part itself, and then we can cut in closer and clean up later. And I'll probably use my glass foil. That's H done with. I'm going to reset this computer one more time. Turn it off, let it mellow, then just restart. So we've got 11. So it only comes with one back of head, but then multiples for the fronts and the sides. So yeah, that's pretty interesting. 11. Cut nice and far away from the actual part. This is an interesting color. I don't think I have that. Well, I'm positive I don't have that, so I'm going to have to try to figure out how to replicate it. This is probably why Guy Note and the Frame Arms mob, Kotobukiya, has done their own line of paint. Mixing that isn't going to be too easy, but we'll have a crack at it. A12, the center part, and there's also only one of those. And 3 and 7. Now the beautiful thing is, all of this is the same color except for the chin bit, so that can all be glued and painted as the single one piece. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you've got 5 pieces. 3 and 7. And again, I didn't get the sound come through on my laptop, so that's very, very concerning. May need to get my headphones or something. I'll do that during the break and just, yeah, definitely sort it out. It's definitely some sort of software malfunction, which has not been doing too well. Got all the parts laid out, water, and the glass file. So going back to just our regular assembly, it's cutting a bit closer. Neatening up a bit further. And then sanding back. So I'll quickly sort out my sandpapers. And I work my way down from 240 all the way to about 400. Second piece. And finally the 2000 or 1500 grit. And that's it. That nub is not only gone, but it's absolutely polished to the same consistency as the rest of the material. So if you're also just snapping this together, no paint, that would also be completely acceptable. The computer has restarted. That's just, here we go. We've got a wizard. So it's not completely restarted. That's all right. Keep your scalpels nice and sharp. When it starts to drag and tear the material and not so much cut it, which mine's starting to do that, it's time to change the blade. You want the blade to just slide smoothly through the material. There we go. 400 and 2000. Now I was doing a bit of a workshop yesterday, and I was showcasing some people and making a video around that. And a lot of people ask about timelines, to make a model and how to get into painting, building, neatening, and just refining your model a bit, and the time process behind that. They saw me working on a kit, a 1/100 Greys from Iron Blooded Orphans, and was curious that even though I've done a few days workshop at this place, I was about 12 hours in on the kit and barely got the inner frame done and started attaching armor. And they're wondering what have I been spending so much time on, which was time test fitting, fitting, assembly, cutting each nub, sanding each runner off, each nub off, test fitting, filling seams, all sorts of stuff like that. So we will be looking at all of that with this video. I do a lot of time thinking and visualizing and what's going to be glued, what's going to be filled, all that sort of stuff. So it starts slow, and once I get a really good idea, I generally go a lot faster. So we've got a flat surface here. Instead of using the sandpaper, I've got this glass file. The Tamiya files are very good. This file is excellent too, and it's so smooth, it does leave an almost polished finish. At the same time, it just removes a ton of material. So that is absolutely ideal. Now, just open the control panel and check out what is wrong with my audio. Alright, that was weird. Well, I fixed that. I suppose we could quickly visit my stream and see if the audio is coming nicely out of that too. So we'll hit up the Mokanaman. And while we're doing that, we'll continue to work on cleaning these pieces. Cut. Slide. And instead of trying to take your nub off in one clean cut with your knife, you risk gorging. And that will just cut in and ruin your stuff. Why is my stream being divided in multiple videos? That is very unusual. Though the stream does seem to be offline. Oh, live again. Okay, that's good. I think the first few attempts might have been ruined and whatnot. But hopefully it should still be going, and it should still be going good and strong. Sometimes the stream does get divided. I know the last time I've done a really long one. Live again. Okay, that's good. I think the first few attempts might have been ruined and whatnot. But hopefully it should still be going, and it should still be going. We got some people viewing as well, so that's good. Seems to be not glitching or anything. And as I say that, there was a slight glitch. So we'll swing that around to Facebook, and I can open my video and just keep playing along and smashing it. So finally, after being at this for little more than half an hour and spending an hour setting up, we're finally at where I want to be with carrying on this project. And all I've worked on is 2 parts. Absolutely disgraceful. So yeah, you want to do multiple cuts. Start at the top of the nub, cut your way down until it's barely a millimeter high, and you can file or sand the rest off. I was on a UK gunplay group, and there was discussion about God hand nippers, and people going on and raving how good it is and how you use the correct method to trim, leave a nub, and it trims everything off. I voiced my opinion, and it's quite well known. I'm not a big fan of them. I think it's really good for really fine bits, tanks, ships, all that sort of stuff, where the thin bits can easily break or be damaged or distorted. For normal kits, it still leaves a noticeable nub that needs to be sanded. And they believed I was insane because I couldn't use the tool properly. When I said the nub is pretty much a percentage of a millimeter, something like half a mil, a third of a mil, and it's still visible through painting. They thought I was insane for even noticing it. And those sort of small things do get noticeable when you add paint and you put it together, you put it on display and whatnot. You put together a model that's been worked on for about 6 to 8 hours, and a model that's been worked on for 30-40 hours. Even though there's skill level differences between the two individuals, the 30-40 hour model will have a lot more to look at, sheerly due to the amount of time and work put into that model. Though it is pretty tragic where you go to a model show and you'll have these ships and planes and tanks and figures and people been working on them for 20, 50, 100 hours, and some people walk past, take a few second look and keep walking. The person making the model will always look at it longer than other people, even if a model appears in a magazine or a competition or TV, or it's been seen by 1,000 eyes. Those 1,000 eyes sees it for a few seconds. You're still sitting there with it for many, many hours. It's always very, very interesting. Keep setting up. Open media. So I'm going to marathon Chobbits. Old school, early 2000s show. I have the audio really low. Don't want to get a content ID or any crap like that, and it'll eventually make its way on YouTube. And there we go. So I'll swoop my eyes between here, there, commentate. Bloody good show. Really enjoy it. Ugh. Stupid setting, menu, whatever. There we go. So we finally got some entertainment. Move down our sandpaper scales as always. And we can start assembling shortly. Now with these styrene snap kits, we're getting in the age where people don't want to use glue or any of that sort of thing, but I saw a comment by Master Kawaguchi about a new Mr. Hobby line of cement. I did not have a good understanding of what's different from his post, didn't read it too closely, but it seems to be very fast drying and adheres quite strongly. Tamiya also released a new product which was modelers are becoming more and more impatient. Tamiya Extra Thin Quick Type, which just adheres the surfaces insanely quickly, even too fast for my taste. What I like to use it is a bit of a glue accelerant with just normal cement. You put a little cement, you put Quick Type, and it just glues super quickly. So it's interesting that as kits are being updated and advanced and just at a higher level of display and whatnot, so is the tools and the products that's coming out for us by these very old companies. Now, as I mentioned, I start very slowly when I start building, but once I start getting into it and into the zone, I steadily get faster and faster. So the first few steps of the kit, the first few parts, very slow. And then it just eventually really does pick up. And I'm also a bit careful and wary because my mind is very focused on how I'm going to paint it, what I'm going to paint it with, where I'm going to mask it, where I'm going to pull it apart. Pull apart, paint and assemble, paint it while it's assembled. All of this goes through your head. And the more models you build, the more likely you'll be pre-planning and whatnot as you're building your kit. I think I also dropped my guts. Shit, man, this is a good show. But yeah, I think if I've got something playing in the background that just catches my attention every now and then, read a bit of the dialogue, see a bit of the visuals, it'll definitely have me wanting to be at this for a little longer. I reckon once I've been here for close to an hour, I'll take a quick 5-10 minute break, get a beverage, use the bathroom, whatever. I could check Facebook from here, so that's alright, but I don't want to. I've been trolling some people, so there's a few individuals that are upset, but don't worry, I don't... oh, here we go. Oh, good. I have God Hands, Tamiya, Gundam Planet nippers, and mostly use the Tamiya ones. GP nippers get used a lot for smaller Gundam parts, and God Hands mostly just for the fine connection and the Fujimi and Aoshima military kits. I'm actually working on a Fujimi kit, and yeah, definitely had to bust out my good Rhinehand nippers, which is the ultimate nippers released for the Australian markets. And yeah, that's purely for all my 72nd tank things, yeah, Dragon, Fujimi, S-Model, all that sort of stuff. They got fine parts and whatnot. Every other kit, it's the old Delta nippers. It's been close with me for about 15 years. So I know with these fine nippers, they lose their edge over time, and it's from a soft cut to just squeezing it at such a tiny point that it breaks, but it still distorts the part a lot less. I would like to save that sharp edge for as most vital cuts as possible, and everything else for the indestructible nippers. So we do definitely have something in common with that. These nippers are really, really great for very hard to cut out parts, even your clear canopies for your planes and whatnot. It's just, I think, if you're using it to cut everything because it just shows such a tiny nub, that's going to impatient, fast, modern age modeling, which I don't exactly want to criticize because there is a market there and people build how they want to build, but it's just a little different to how people used to build it back in the day. If these tools were available back in the day, I'm sure we would embrace it and use it. But a lot of these hobby tools are starting to become so niche, so specialized, so expensive. A lot of these cheaper nippers, which I think your version of the Gundam Planet nippers, are just slowly disappearing and getting a bit harder to find because everyone's just demanding for these premium nippers. But because of premium different type of nippers, now you've got all these jokers out there, such as myself and everyone else that has about half a dozen different nippers for half a dozen different jobs. Which is, yeah, it's amusing as hell. Pardon me. Got a bad case of the gases. Now, one more little nub. We'll start looking how we're going to size it up to assemble this head, which I've got a good idea, being a third head to build and whatnot. The fit isn't too overly tight like Gunpla. It's a very generous fit. It holds together, but it's not going to be under so much tension that it's going to fall apart. In some ways, I'm actually thinking that a lot of these arm frame girls are actually better designed and suited as scale models for scale modelers, but this is definitely designed for the scale modeler mindset, where your Gunpla is definitely very toy-esque or toy-ish. Toy-esque. And the son of a bitch, a friend of mine borrowed a tool what's not in here, which I need to use. I'm going to have to go back and get it, but it doesn't matter. We've got a few joints and butts. So where we got these two joints, they're very, very tight. They're going to leave a seam. There's chances of splitting and whatnot. What I like to do is stick my knife in there, twirl and widen. And then the joint is so much closer together. There is a chamfer that leads into the seam. I think with sufficient glue, the seam won't be noticeable, but the chamfer will. So putty is definitely not required. Though if you put very thin putty down there and made sure that there was no seam, that would be acceptable. And the back here, the front there is... we'll just start assembling. Got the instructions there. So we'll see where this goes. So that goes into those three holes. Wind it a bit. Took a bit. Wait. I previously used the Tamiya photo etch saw to cut off all the parts for non-painted Gunpla kits, since they leave no stress marks when cutting. That took a bit too much time. That would take an amazingly, stupidly amount of time. Though definitely if I was to be building a clear kit, that would be the way to go. Those photo etch saws are amazing tools. I got one myself. I don't deploy it too much, but it is the thing to do. Though if you're doing your Gunpla and you cut far away, a bit closer, cut and sand away, there is no stress mark because you're sanding down the nub down to bare plastic, and that little spot will be the same consistent color as the rest of the plastic. A lot of people don't realize, or the more scale modelers, that for people who snap, they want to have the plastic color, panel line it, and top coat it. To do that very, very well takes a lot of time and skill as well. So if you're a painter or a non-painter, but you get that non-painted finish just polished, top coated and decorated with a Gundam marker or washes to the point that is quite wonderful, Both of them can be very difficult, and both of them can also stand quite well with each other. Weathering products can also be applied on bare plastic if you take your snapping, sanding, and top coating very, very seriously. So we've just loosened up these 3 holes, and the fit is loose, so it pops in and out very easily. The peg goes in the hole deeply, but there is enough tension that it's not going to fall out. With the Tamir Extra Thin Quick Type, and that's not Tamir Extra Thin, it's normal Tamir cement topped up because I like the little brush. Just going to add a little cement into the holes. And then we will accelerate it with the accelerator or the quick type. It does slow things down at first to use 2 sets of glues, but then the drying time is crazy fast. So that's together. Very nice. And we can put the 2 side components. And again, we've got these fins, and these fins are just insanely tight. So I like to cut them in half. This is how they like to do it in Hong Kong. Just using your nippers or a knife. And it's just going to make the joint a lot looser, so it fits in. There we go. It's a lot snug. Doesn't fall out. It's still good for snapping. But since we're going to be putting glue there anyway, it's going to permanently stay there. But before we do that, I want to see how this bit goes in, and if there's any overlapping. And if there's overlapping, then which there is, I don't think we can glue the hair, or we might have to, and then fuck. Well, it looks like it could still slide in with all the hair together. Slides straight. It's a little more trickier, so I might have to, if I'm doing it right. There we go. So I might loosen those joints up a bit further, and it could work quite nicely. And then later on, it can be glued on after painting. Oi, oi. So trim down these pegs. Let's do a test fit. Okay. Slide in. Cool. And it pops out really, really easy. It is a bit weak, so it's going to be a bit hard to support the head. But it is significantly going to be really easy for assembly, disassembly, not scratch parts, not leave any sort of... Just don't forget, when you paint it, you thicken up joints, you thicken up holes, you thicken up pegs, and it's just going to be ever so harder to stick together and glue, and you just get these like brazenly bad you're just going to get like these really bad gaps, these seams. and they are a big problem for the people who paint then assemble. So there's no really advantage, or there are advantages and disadvantages, but if you overcome and engineer the advantages and disadvantages out, it is very worthwhile. But since it does take a lot more time, you're going to be putting together and pulling apart these kits multiple times, yeah, you become generally a much slower modeler. Okay. 45 minutes in, not too bad. And yay, it fits all together. So you can generally take some photos. So can't forget to take photos, as the whole process is definitely being documented for YouTube. It's feeling really bad that every Monday I wanted to stream, was tired, work, whatever reason, and I'm just looking at this rig. Got a nice camera up here, everything laid out, whatnot. Spent some money on the gear, and it just wasn't being utilized. That made me feel really bad, but it is what it is. Again, the normal cement, extra thin quick type, and that just glues crazy fast. Depending on how much quick type you use, it just dries so quickly that you're almost able to sand within just a couple of minutes. There we go. Solid, tight's really not. The fit is nice. It's tight. It's beautiful. Very slow, easy going, not too generous with the glue. If you get glue squeezing out the seam and on the model, and you press your finger in it, it's definitely going to leave a fingerprint. A lot of people panic and they try to recover it immediately, and that just causes all sorts of further problems. Now, there is a bit of a seam, so I can either treat the seam that goes down there as a hair part, and we can always look at the original box art that has a hair part or not, which it does.